Welcome back to a new video in LINQ Tutorials. Today I will show you how to convert HTML string to data table. I already published a video about converting data table to HTML string. If you didn't watch the video, I recommend you to watch it before watching this video. I talked about converting a data table to HTML string, which you can use to send an email, for example. Assume you received a reply to this email, where the table in the mail is edited and you want to get the HTML table from the email as data table. Let's see how to do that. This is the LINQ query, how to convert a data table to HTML string. I explained it in the video, what I mentioned before. Let's do a recap, what I am doing here using this query. I have a data table variable with the name, _dt. First I am adding the table tag with border for the table. After that I am using the data table variable with function columns, to get the columns of this table. Each column will be added with these tags. So I use td as tag for the columns, but you can also use th, which is better to differentiate between rows and columns. After that I am closing the tags for the columns. Then I used a loop for the rows of the table, to get the rows and add them as string with tags. For each row I use the tag td. The output of this query is of type string, which contains the table as HTML string. You can use this string in your email, for example, so that you can add the table in the body of the email. I have here another query, where you can do the same, but it's better than the first one, because I am using the correct tag for the columns. So this query is also to convert a data table to HTML string. You can use one of both queries to convert your table to HTML string. That's all about converting a table to HTML string. Let's now see how to convert the HTML string back to data table. At the beginning I will show you the query of converting a data table to HTML string in UiPath. It's exact the same, what I explained in the first video. I will do that to get an HTML string. After that I will show you how to convert the generated HTML string back to a data table. I will do that only to have an HTML string, but you could have the HTML string from your code, or from a file, or also directly from an email. Let's start. I have this Excel file, which contains only one sheet. In this sheet I have the following table. It consists of 3 columns, ID, name and department. And here I have different data in the table. I have 6 rows in this table. First I will show you how to convert this table to HTML string, as I did in the first video. First I am reading the Excel file using read range activity from sheet 1. The table will be stored in this variable. It's a data table variable. And here I am converting the data table to HTML string. It's the same query, what I showed you before, to convert a data table to HTML string. As mentioned, you can use this query to convert the table to HTML, or also the second query. For now I will use this query to get an HTML string. And here I am printing out the HTML string, which I should get from the LINQ query. Let's execute the code up to this point, to show you the HTML string, which I want to convert later back to a data table. As you see, I got an HTML string. First I have the columns of the table. Then I have the different rows. The table looks like this one. I have a table consisting of 3 columns, and I also have the rows. Let's see the source code. So here I have the HTML string, what I generated using LINQ query. I added the HTML string here, to show you how it looks like in editor. It's structured better here. First I have the table tag. Then I have a tag for the columns. And below I have the different rows. That's all only recap for the previous video. Now I want to convert this HTML string to a data table. Let's go. Here is the sequence to convert HTML to table. First I am adding the columns from the HTML string. Then I am adding the rows. Let's see which variables I need to do that. The first one is ColumnsArray. It's of type string array. I don't have any default value here. And the second one is the new table, what I want to generate from the HTML string. It's a data table. I added this default value here. It's very important to add, else you will get an exception, because we want to generate a table and add columns and rows. So we have first to define it as a new data table. As mentioned, first we have to add the columns to the table. Here is the query to do that. First I am looping all elements of HTML string after splitting. The split is using tr, because as you know, we have tr between the rows and the columns, and also for each row. It means, once I do the split, I will get the following result. It's an array consisting of 8 elements. Now I want to get only the elements, which don't have the word table. It means, I don't want to get the elements, which contains table tag. So I will get only these 7 elements as result. Then I used elemented operator, to get the first element from the array. It means, I will get this element, which contains the columns. And this will be splitted. The output here will be now the following array. It contains 4 elements. The first one is an empty string because of splitting. I can avoid it if I am using remove empty entries with split function. So now this line in the query means, that I am looping the following elements. In the next line I have the condition, to get only the elements which contains this tag. It means, I want to get all elements except the first one, which is empty. I can do the same using other condition also, like this one for example. And now I want to remove the tags, so that I only have the column name. To do that I used replace function with empty string. The next line is to add the columns to the data table. So here I am adding the columns to the table one by one. All columns here are of type string, but you can also use the type you need. At the end I am selecting the column as output. And after the query I have the function toArray, to convert the output to array. It means, I will have an array as output, which contains only the columns. So I don't select the table as output, because I will get an exception. Therefore I am adding the columns to the table in the query, but I am selecting something else using the query. So the output is not important for me. Most important here is this line, where I am adding the columns to the table. So after executing this query I have 3 columns in the table. Now I want to add the rows from the HTML string to the table. For that I have the following query. First I have the same part, what I had in the previous query. It's to split the HTML string and getting all elements except the table elements. The only difference here is that I am using skip operator, to skip the first element of the array. As you know, we have these 7 elements as result from the expression in the first line. And using skip operator with number 1 means, that I want to get all elements except the first one, which contains the columns. So I only want to get the rows now, therefore I don't need the first element. In the next line I have this expression to get the whole row as variable. It means, this line is to get the content of each column for only one row. First I defined a variable 1 row. Here I use split, where and select operators, to get all elements without tags. The output of this line is for example for this element the following. I have an array consisting of 3 elements. Each element is the content for one column of the 3 columns. So here I have 1 row as output. And the result for the other elements is also the following. The next line contains a condition to get only the elements, which are not empty. It's to make sure, that I don't have an empty row. After that I am adding the variable 1 row to the table as row. After the query I have the function copy to data table, to convert the output to data table. So the result of this query is a data table, which contains all rows from the HTML string. And here I have write range activity, to write the new generated table in Excel again. So I want to write the table in sheet 2. It's the new table. And it should be written in the cell A1. I also check the option add headers, to write the column names in Excel. Now I will execute the code to show you, which result I will get. I will check it in Excel. I have a new sheet, sheet 2. As you see, I have the generated table here. It consists of 3 columns and 6 rows. So it's the same table, what I had at the beginning. So the code works as expected. This is how to convert an HTML string to data table using LINQ. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you still have any questions, please don't hesitate to write us back. Thanks for watching and have a great day.